Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Y'all definitely come on in. We are going to have a great 30-minute session. We want to say we appreciate you all for tuning in and joining us. Our goal is to educate and empower the community and just open up the dialogue about what's going on in the real estate industry where it's beneficial to buyers and sellers. Today, I have my guest Demetrius Lockett, who is working on his camera, and we're going to be talking
Hello.
about the myths of home ownership. How you doing today, Demetrius?
I am doing much better than my camera, it seems, but I'm doing great. Glad to be here with you, Stephanie.
I'm glad to have you here. Glad to have you here.
I
And
want to
guys, we're
fix this though,
talking.
don't worry.
Yes, 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 yes. Just keep working on your end, but we're going to keep having a conversation anyway.
Okay,
So,
great.
one of the things, Demetrius, I wanted to talk about was, um, the myths of home ownership, getting rid of the fear. I don't know if it's fear the way people normally think of fear, like, oh, I'm so afraid. I think there's
Uh-huh.
a lot of subconscious fear that goes on due to a lack of knowledge about the home buying process that holds people back from doing it. From your end as a lender,
Uh-huh.
do you find people kind of being fearful, and if so, why?
I think hold on.
So while you're doing whatever you're doing because you're on mute, I want to talk about, and if y'all want to chime in, just unmute your mic and definitely chime in on why, some people are fearful. One of the things I'm going to say is definitely a lack of knowledge, thinking that this takes much more than it does. And there you go, Demetrius. So, Demetrius, now that you're back, what would you say some of the fear or concerns that you think a lot of people have about purchasing a home?
I think a lot of the fear right now, Stephanie, is that people are just getting so much information that I think they're getting information overload. And typically, they're getting that information from the news and from other people on the street. And typically, the news, as well as what people will share with you, tends to be the worst of the worst. And I will say that there are some stories out there that are concerning, but for the most part, people can buy houses for you. Everybody needs a place to stay. My suggestion would be to combat some of that fear with real communication and knowledge, and speak to someone like you or like me to find out not only what's real and what's not real, but how it relates to them. Because all the things that are happening in the environment aren't necessarily things that we even affect each and every body. So I think it's a lot of lack of communication and at the same time too much information that just either very scary or
Okay, absolutely. So I love that. So too much Googling, not
yeah.
enough talking to the actual expert, right? And I'm going to tell you something. This knowledge is free, right? Lenders, new real estate agents generally charge for the information that will help you to make the largest purchase that you make in your life.
Absolutely.
Everything else you have to pay for, right? When it comes to something that's really important. And yet in this industry, realtors and lenders do it for free.
Absolutely. I can only it's so funny on our last one we talked about what do we really do, like a loan officer and an agent. And the reality of the matter is contrary to what Facebook and Instagram shows, we were just all at the closing table, all excited and exchanging keys. That's the highlight of our job. But typically, we are giving advice to the community in order to help them make better decisions. And you're right, that is absolutely free. And people should take advantage of it. I know I would.
Absolutely. Anything free, right? Especially for something that's so important. So I want to
Absolutely.
give you, so we're talking about the fear. of what people have. Like you said, either too much information, so go to the source itself, right?
Hmm.
And then not enough information, which still means go to the source. Now, I want to
Absolutely.
give you all, I want to dispel one myth and get rid of some of the anxiety, right? You don't have to be ready. You don't come to a realtor or a lender ready. So a lot of people are like, I'm just gonna get my stuff together first. That's not how it goes because too many mistakes are made.
Hmm.
So in that, um, uh, the, talk to us about some of the mistakes that you see people make in this business.
Probably the
I'm
biggest
not
one.
talking first.
Probably the biggest one, Stephanie, that I always say, and I know you can probably echo this, is people saying they are ready or they're getting ready, and they want to work on their credit. And it seems to me, if you wanted to work on your credit, you would work on your credit with a credit person that's doing what you want to get done, which is the mortgage person. And typically, people tend to be just a little bit, I don't know if they're scared or embarrassed about what's on there and want to try and fix some stuff before anybody sees it. But that's probably the most expensive mistake that people make, because you
Say that
often will
one
pay
more
off
time.
stuff. You
Say
often
that
will
one
pay.
more time.
It is. It's one of the most expensive mistakes that people make because oftentimes I can tell you exactly what an underwriter is the one that puts the final signature on the loan, exactly what they're looking for. Typically, when you're reading books or going online or asking a good friend or somebody that bought a house before, they're going to share with you old information. And information in this industry is so dynamic, it changes almost monthly. There's always new rules or adjustments to old rules. And I think when is a good time to buy a house? It's always a good time to buy a house because it's more than just buying a house. Remember, you were talking about that the other day, Stephanie, in terms of you need some place to live, but you also need some assets to be able to get that $100,000 off your place that you've been living for the last 2 years.
Absolutely. I love that. So we want to say that again because I want to make sure that y'all didn't miss that. Not talking to a mortgage lender about your credit before you start to make moves could be so costly. And I'm going to give you a perfect example. Sometimes I have clients who have paid off things that they did not
Hmm.
need to pay off. That money could have gone to down payment, closing costs, or something else. Sometimes you pay things off, it doesn't move your credit at all. And or sometimes it hurts your credit because now you're waking up a sleeping giant.
Hmm. That's true. That's very true. And the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is we don't look at the overall amount of debt. We're looking at monthly payments. So sometimes you'll have a borrower pay off this big, large account because they want to think that they'll look better, but the payment was only $70. So just educating people through that, I think, is big. And sometimes you want to pay down your debt so you'll look better for a lender, and that's not necessarily true either. Either you qualify or you don't qualify. So sometimes if you don't need to pay off stuff to get qualified and approved, then do it. I think talking to a lender and even talking to a realtor who will turn you over to a lender is almost equivalent to like getting a checkup when you go to your yearly physical. We're going to look and see. I mean, you believe everything's right, but we're going to look and make sure and give you recommendations that can lead towards quicker home ownership and lower costs as well.
That so one of the messages that we want you to get is before you start work, don't fix your credit and then go to the lender. We understand that everybody thinks about, okay, this is the person that's going to lend me the money. And if they see me with jacked up credit, no. What they're there to do is to help you get it prepared in the correct way. Okay. So we want to dispel this myth. You don't just go to the lender, talk to the lender because now you're ready. You also go and talk to the lender because you want to get ready the right way. Let me say it again. You want to get ready the right way. So you need the rules from the loan officer, not the credit specialist who's going to try to wipe everything clean. Now you don't even have any trade line, right? Now you have a 680, but with no trade line. So
Right.
when you want to do a certain thing, you go to the source. And then
Hmm.
by purchasing a home, the loan officer is the source. And I want y'all to change your mind on something. Don't always think about going to the lender um, just for the loan. Think about using them as a resource to get ready for the loan.
Absolutely. And you know something else, Stephanie, I want to just put out there because some people think that they're ready and they're just waiting for the economy. I would challenge those people, if you know you're ready, to go ahead and complete an application. Because what's really important, especially in the process that we're moving in now, is when I get you pre-approved or pre-qualified and ready to purchase a house, all I'll be doing is verifying what you already believe. So I'll do what's called a soft pull. And for those of you on the line that don't know what a soft pull is, that's when someone will pull your credit and it doesn't affect your credit score. So if you believe you're ready, you know you're just waiting for things, the economy to change or interest rates or whatever, it makes sense to do an application. That way we can put you in the system, and as things start changing, we can let you know. Because sometimes, especially with where rates are right now, rates come out literally every day. Sometimes they can come out today and they're great, and then for the next 3 weeks they're terrible. Well, if I have already an application for you, then I can lock you into that rate. We can't lock you into the rate if you're not even in the game. So just something to think about. If you're ready, or if you think you're ready, or if you think you're not ready, but you want to buy a house or refinance or buy a vacation home or whatever it is you want to do with real estate, go ahead and do an application. It just makes sense.
So because you have to know the rules to the game. Now, what is dispel this myth? Well, I know you gotta have these and you gotta have that, listen, everybody's situation is different. I don't care what your
Definitely.
mom, the mother did. I don't care what your sister just did. I don't care. Everybody's stuff is different. The amount that you make is different. The amount of your monthly income is different. The amount of your monthly payments is different, right? Your credit
Right.
score different, right? There's so many, your job history different.
Your
There's so
job.
many, yes. So there's
Yeah.
so many factors. So what I don't want you to do, like we said earlier, is to judge yourself off of this overwhelming amount of information you're getting from different sources and trying to squeeze yourself in somebody else's box.
Absolutely.
What we want you to do is to get your own box.
I
Um,
think that's important. I think that's
yeah.
really important that people, I mean, I think for too long, people have always been nervous about the whole home buying process. And now it's a little bit worse than ever because where rates are and where house prices, and everybody worried about the new administration and those kind of things. But you need somewhere to live.
So, yes, you're going to live somewhere anyway. We're going to talk about those benefits in just a minute. I want to wrap up the fears. I want you all to think about, and fear isn't that, oh, I'm
Mm.
scared. Fear sometimes could be so subtle. It's just the thing that stops you from doing something that you want to do. Doesn't have to be the boogeyman that you're hovering in the corner. It could be
Right,
just that thing that's stopping you from having a conversation. And that is the fear that we want you to get rid of now. I'm going to go back to this. We give information for free. Doesn't cost you anything.
right.
We are your partners. We don't look at you and look at that. Oh my goodness, look at their credit.
No
Listen, this is
judgment. No judgment.
America.
Right,
Okay. There's no judgment zone. And our job is to help you get in position so that you can own your own home.
and
Okay.
and Stephanie, I just want to add, because of the judgment thing that we just talked about, we don't, at least I don't normally, when someone comes and they're actually ready, I'm amazed. It happens very rarely. Even the people that they think are ready can be put in a better position when they apply earlier. Because a lot of times what happens and what creates to a bad experience for so many people is they don't start the loan process after they've fallen in love with the house. What sense does that make? And that's how people get disappointed, people get rejected, and then they go out of the market and don't sometimes come back for decades. We need to break that cycle and get more people into home ownership. It's just, especially with where rental prices are. You know, people spend more
Yes,
than $300,000 typically on rental before they decide to become a homeowner. And that's expanding more and more with the prices. But now more than ever, I think it just makes sense because the price of renting in many cases right now is more expensive than home ownership with none of the
absolutely.
benefits.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the benefits of home ownership.
Absolutely.
I am a huge advocate, and I know you are, Demetrius, of home ownership. And one of the things I want y'all to do for us, I want you to stop thinking about a home as just a place to live. When I'm closing with my clients, they're just thinking about where they're going to put the couch. Oh, I'm going to make this so cute. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is my dream home. All of that, right? I'm going to tell you, y'all missing the boat. Let me share y'all with y'all what I'm finding, and then Demetrius, I want you to chime in.
Sure.
Most people have homes, have money. They think that they don't have any money
Mm.
because they don't see their home as the asset that it is.
Absolutely. That's
They are
big.
just thinking about whether they like it. I don't like this side of town anymore. I don't like this house anymore. These bedrooms too big, too small, too. Stop. I want you to start thinking about your home as an asset. It is a part of your net worth now.
And what do you mean, Stephanie?
Y'all know when y'all looking at these people and they say, oh, this person is worth 3.5 million, 5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, it is not the money that is in their bank account, right? It is the assets that they have and what they're valued at that give them their net worth. Now, you live in a $500,000 house
Mm-hmm.
that's valued at 500. You add that plus your what you make per year, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is your net worth. I need y'all to understand is y'all just thinking y'all walking around as a homeowner, your bank account may be looking a little crazy. Okay. But the truth is because your house is worth 500,000 and you make 75,000 and your husband, y'all are worth almost $1 million.
That's true. And you know what else, Stephanie, that I think you bring up an excellent point about some of the benefit of home ownership is when you say that's an asset, it's like a bank account is an asset as well. So a lot of times we're walking around these houses and have been in it. I know my grandma was guilty of it and paid it for years on time, never late, never anything. Paid it off and never did anything with the asset. You own it, but realize what you're owning. You're owning a piece of property, some land in this country. And so when you come to a person like me, a lender, and say, I have land or I have a property, we look at how much you own of that property because you've been making payments. Keep in mind when you buy a house, the point of making payments is the balance goes down. That you owe the bank less and you own more. So let's say that $500,000 home you've been paying for, I don't know, 20 years. And now you only owe 20,000. That means it is as good as sitting in a bank account $480,000 that you can start a business, that you can send your kids to school, that you can take the dream vacation, that you can pay things for cash, or doggone it, just so your bills won't be and credit cards won't be maxed out, you have cash. It is a game changer in the world of real estate. That's how a lot of people always say real estate is the quickest way to become rich. It's the quickest,
Absolutely.
yes, but you have to tap into that asset.
Right. And I
So
want
it
y'all to
becomes those
understand
strategic
this.
thing.
This is what now regular people. Now I want y'all to understand when I say regular, I'm just everyday people.
Yes.
Everybody should own their own home at some point sooner than later because of the asset. Not only because whatever you pay for initially, you're paying it down. Also, houses appreciate.
Absolutely. We didn't even think about. I didn't even talk about that.
Right. We built a new house now 5 years ago. Our house now has 5 years ago $300,000 worth of equity. I wouldn't
What's
say the house
equity?
down that much.
What's
I'm
equity?
talking about what we paid for it
Uh-huh.
versus what it's worth now.
Okay.
So now let me say this. If my husband or I wanted to start a new business, right?
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to take some money out to put it in stock, our retirement, that's what we could do. At this time, we could tap into some of that 300,000 for simply living somewhere, which we're going to do anyway. I cannot
It's amazing.
express to you all. You don't have to know a whole lot. You don't have to be a real estate investor. You don't have to have a portfolio. What I'm going to say to you is if you do nothing else, you own your own because you're already paying rent anyway. There is no difference. Now, let's talk about this, Demetrius.
Yes.
Because I know some people are going to say, well, but then you're responsible for what? Right?
Yeah. I
Now, I
think a
need
lot.
y'all to understand this. Yes, you're responsible for taking care of your home, but you're the same way when you rent. Because I can oblige and tell y'all, most of you are already taking care of it anyway. Because the
Yeah.
landlords usually don't come and fix things the way that they supposed to be fixed anyway.
And the other
Most of
thing to
y'all
think
don't want them
about,
in your house, so you go run around doing it anyway and try to get a credit.
and Stephanie, really, I think if the renters could even think about on a year basis how often they call the maintenance desk anyway, because the truth of the matter is while homes do need upkeep and sometimes need repair, it's not like having a used car that's 20 years old. It's a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, you have major things in the house that are part of the components, but Stephanie and her team do such a great job of checking that you're able to live in the house versus worrying about repairing it and repairing it and repairing it.
And if you have that concern, then you are one of the people who should do construction where everything is due.
Hmm. That's
Shouldn't
true.
much of anything happen for the first 10 years,
Like you
right?
said, you've been there 5 years, Stephanie. Have you had to put a whole bunch of upkeep, maintenance,
The thing
repairs?
that I'm putting this house is making sure it's cute. Okay.
And
But
it is
however,
cute. It is
and
cute.
thank you. And then you want to make sure that you are doing routine things, just like get your car service, the oil change. You want to do something so that don't let your house fall apart,
Right.
but you do it as you will, right? Now let me just say
Hmm.
this. Let's just say something all of a sudden our roof needs to be replaced. Guess what, buddy? We got $300,000 equity in this.
That's right.
If I couldn't pay for it, I'm going to tap in. Guess what happens if you want to redo your kitchen? You think Aunt Sally redoing that kitchen out her pocket? She not. Guess what? She tapping into that equity, pulling it out to redo her kitchen.
Hmm.
These are some of the benefits. I don't want y'all to be afraid of the future. Now, I'm gonna give you another one. And this was me. I'm gonna give y'all a personal tip. Coming from up north, I did not know a lot of people who own homes. I have commitment phobias. All I ever heard was a 30-year mortgage. I've
Mm.
always worked for myself. There is no check on Fridays, right? So I had a fear, not scary fear, something that was holding me back. Because I kept saying, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing for no 30 years. What happened? I'm gonna owe these people, I'm gonna be under contract. Now let me tell you what happened since I've been in real estate, especially in Georgia. Don't nobody live in your house for 30 years, number one.
Not at all.
Y'all move every 7 years because you either want bigger or you downsizing because the kids going and your knees hurt. Or you thought you were gonna like McDonald's, but you don't like McDonald's, and now you want to go to Douglasville. The moral of the story is when it no longer works, sell it. You're not stuck. I thought the 30-year, because it's a contract, there's so many words on it. I'm stuck. I'm obligated to pay in this 30-year contract for 30 years. You are not.
Absolutely.
If you want to sell it in 2 years, you can sell it. If you want to sell it in 5 years, now, of course, you want to sell it when it's to your benefit.
Mhm.
Okay? But I'm telling y'all, get rid of that fear. I'm just trying to make sure because 30 years, man, you won't be there that long.
And here's another myth we absolutely have to talk about before we end these last 4 minutes is a lot of people don't buy a house because they think it's too expensive. They don't have enough money to buy a house. They believe it takes 20% or 50, 60, $70,000. It does not. Even if you did not have any assistance from any place, and we can talk about assistance perhaps next time, but let's say you're just using your money, you can get into a house with about 5%. That's your down payment. That's setting up the accounts that you need to become a homeowner. 5%. So think about that. That's that. If you were buying $100,000 property, if such thing existed still, 5% would just be $5,000. So do the math yourself. And most importantly, know that you can call either one of us and we can run numbers so you can kind of get an idea of payments or send you property so you can get an idea of what $300,000 might buy or what $100,000 might buy. And more importantly, you'll have access to professionals that are willing to give you all of our knowledge for free. And when we talk about that, we're talking about over 50 years worth of knowledge in this industry. So just take advantage of it. If you do nothing else from watching this thing, I would say go ahead, start putting your thoughts together, change your mindset. That's the first thing I would work on is changing my mindset and believing what if this was really possible? Because Stephanie, I think before you had mentioned that most of the time when people are first calling us, they're calling us with a dream. And sometimes people have a hard time believing in a dream, but this is one of those dreams that can actually come true. While you're dreaming, we're planning. And when you put the two together, oh my God, you're at a home.
You
And
know
that's what we
what?
want.
That's where I was going to close with as well.
Oh, cool.
Great minds think alike. Y'all, if your dream is to own, don't worry about the plan without the advocates and the professionals. That's what
Absolutely.
we do. Don't sit by yourself and figure it out. Get with the people who've been doing it long enough that it only takes a conversation, right? To know what you need to do, that we will be on your team to help you getting it done. And lastly, it is not about being ready, it is about getting ready.
Absolutely.
Let Demetrius and our team help you get ready. Don't be embarrassed. Don't do it by yourself. That's what we're here for. So when they say, well, after they made all of this money, guess what? Use us.
Absolutely. Leave a message for Stephanie in her messenger. If you need either one of us, we would be happy to help you. Our consultation is free. Um, if you wait one more month, it's too long. It's too
Yeah,
long.
yeah.
If you
So
don't do it for
Demetrius,
you, do it
please
for your
share your
family.
information.
Absolutely. My information is I'm going to give my phone number 404-396-7445. But for those of you that are looking for any excuse not to do anything, don't even worry about that. And hit Stephanie in her direct messenger, and we will get back with you. There's no cost, no judgment, and no procrastination on our end. We will work as quick or as slowly as you want us to.
Right. We're not on time. If it takes us 2 years to get you ready, we work on your time frame. And now it's time to get your acre in a mule.
Yeah,
Okay?
absolutely.
Time to get your acre in a mule. They might not, you see, they ain't gave it to us yet, right? So you can't worry about it. Now go get it for yourself and go get it for your children and their
Legacy.
children's children. Guys, we are out of time as usual. We love you so much.
Thank you
We
so much,
want
Stephanie.
you.
What you're doing is great. It's so amazing. It
Well,
is
thank you
amazing.
so much. Because we're just opening up the dialogue. Y'all know if y'all have questions, leave comments, whatever you need to do. But for now, it is a rainy Wednesday morning. Enjoy your day. remember that you are the best and give us a call. My number is 404-246-3841. Y'all have a blessed day.
Goodbye. Thanks, Stephanie.
You're welcome, Demetrius.